Okay, so if you're in a relationship with someone and every time y'all get in an argument, they run back and go tell everybody your business, and then they play themselves out to be the victim while you're the bad guy, you need to run. That is a form of manipulation called triangulation. Hey guys, I'm Lee. Welcome to my channel. And this video talks about different forms of triangulation. I hope you enjoy.
Triangulation is a manipulation technique that is used by toxic individuals like narcissists. It's when they bring in a third party into the situation so that they can remain in control. For example, triangulation often involves a new supply or a new person. Let's say you're in a relationship with an abuser and you start noticing that your abuser is texting you less and less and less and has started texting a new person, aka new supply. When the abuser is confronted by you, they'll say something along the lines of, "It's just a friend and they're easier to talk to. Talking to you is always filled with drama." And in contrast, the new supply believes they're in a relationship with the abuser. The abuser will do something like purposely text you, the old supply, in front of the new supply and tell the new supply, "Oh, don't worry about it." But of course, the new supply is going to be worried. And now the abuser's work is done because at this point, both supplies will be vying for the abuser's attention, and this is like mega fuel for them. Triangulation is a manipulation technique that.
Here's an example of triangulation. Let's say your narcissistic girlfriend introduces you to one of her female friends. The friend seems kind enough, but your girlfriend tells you that she doesn't want to hang out with her anymore because she's promiscuous, unstable, and constantly creating drama. But as time goes on, you realize that they're remaining close friends. Now, what you don't know is that your girlfriend is also portraying you in a bad light to her friend and fabricating or twisting stories, making you both look bad to each other. So you barely know the friend, she barely knows you, and yet you both have a negative bias towards each other, all because your perceptions of each other have been manipulated by someone that you both think you can trust. Here's an example.
Hey mom, you know how you always say there's like something wrong with me and then I should go to therapy? I mean, it wouldn't hurt. Yeah, well, I did start going to therapy. Okay. And I've been learning a lot. Okay. So one of the things I've been learning is called triangulation. And it's when someone takes, a friend group or like a sibling group and like gets them to hate each other by like directing the narrative, like lying to both of those siblings. Yeah, like remember that time you told me that like Brittany was mad at me? He was mad at you. Yeah, and then I talked to Brittany and she told me that you had told her that I was mad at her. You girls both misunderstood. Mom, for the first time, I don't think we did. What is triangulation? I'm Jamie, I'm a licensed therapist. Stay with me on this role play. Well, you know why she's not coming, right? No, why? She doesn't want to be around you. I honestly thought she was just really busy. I know she has a lot going on. I know why you're not coming. Is it because Sally said that you're always too busy for us? Send. Too busy for them? What? Sally, I'm not too busy for you. I just had a prior engagement. I don't know why you're upset. I'm not upset. If you were just honest with the real reason you don't want to be here, then we wouldn't have a problem. Send. Jess, I am so fed up with all of this stupid drama from Sally. Send. I know. Good thing you have me. Always drama free.
You're left there wondering like, wow. So you got to be very weary of these creatures because even if you're not in a relationship, they could be targeting someone else and they see you as that person that they need to befriend to be able to get closer to their target, and you need to be able to recognize these people. So once the covert narcissist is triangulating all these people and turning them against you, now they have power. Not only does that grant them some narcissistic supply where they're not just getting it from you, now they're getting it from your coworkers and your friends. They're really able to divide and conquer your societies, and before you know it, you're left there wondering like, wow.
So you, or in a romantic relationship. Another example, triangulation, my least favorite thing that these people do, the narcissist, that is. So there you are. Let's say you are married or in a romantic relationship, and you believe things are going well because this is, let's say hypothetically, you've now entered the devaluation stage, only you don't know it, where you enter the narcissistic fog. Same thing. The point is, when that happens, then you're home from work one day, and then let's say your romantic interest comes home and they tell you that an individual at work gave them compliments and said they looked fantastic and they look so good and all these things, and you're like, I tell you those things all the time. What's going on? What did they do there? They just triangulated you, and that put pressure on you to give this person who turned out to be a narcissist more compliments and to have you doubting your worth, or are you doing enough, or are you contributing enough? The pressure, it adds up each and every time. Another example, triangulation.
What is the goal of a triangulator? The goal of triangulation is actually to get yourself into a position of power. So in triangulation, there's three people. There's two different parties and then an instigator. The instigator is strategically getting these two parties to pit against each other. The instigator might pick two siblings to pit against each other, so the parent's the good guy. The instigator might turn two best friends on each other. Really, any two close bonds can be put in this situation. So by either twisting words or straight up lying to the two parties, they can place themselves in a situation where they're the voice of reason. Triangulation is extremely manipulative, and it's insidious because it's hard to catch. We don't always know when we're being lied to. What is the goal?
Did you ever have a person bring a third person into your argument, into your discussion? You might be a victim of triangulation. Now, when that happens, a person will come in and they'll bring a third person, like, let's say physically, they'll bring a third person into the argument. They're like, well, this is like my best friend. Like, what do you think about this? Or this is another friend. What do you think about this? Now, a lot of times, like say with a guy and a girl, a guy brings in another girl to get another perspective or something. A lot of times it ends up being someone that they end up cheating with. Not saying it happens all the time, but I would say a lot of times that happened. That was stuff that happened in my relationship where I would like talk to other people of like, yeah, I can't believe this is so bad at home. I can't believe that she said that. I can't believe that she did that. And then slowly that connection, that bond would form. And then I'd use them to try to be able to leverage stuff over my wife, to be able to convince her, to be able to manipulate her. All of those different things are triangulation. Did you ever?
Triangulation happens in a two-person conflict when the abuser tries to pull a third person into the dynamic. Their main goal is to deflect the attention off of themselves. They may be trying to create another conflict to take the attention off of the original one. Triangulation also reinforces their sense of superiority. With narcissistic triangulation, the narcissist is trying to take it from a one-on-one conversation to a two-against-one argument. The narcissist's goal is to gain supply and support. It's a manipulation tactic used to maintain control, and it always leaves you confused and unbalanced. It uniquely serves the needs of someone with narcissism. It lets them use both parties as a source of supply. They get attention, praise, admiration, and power. Never underestimate an abuser's need for power. I'm a certified relationship coach specializing in trauma bond recovery and abuse education.
So today's topic is narcissistic triangulation. It is one of their manipulative tactics to control their partners or their ex-partners, to use a third party to undermine the relationship between two people. Now, that person might be doing it or somebody else might be doing it, but it's to undermine the relationship. So this can happen many different ways, but you need to know if you're experiencing it. So like I said, usually there's a third party involved. Sometimes there's a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10, your person might get around. They can bring a whole family into it, a whole community. It could be a new love interest for them, a new work colleague or a friend, whomever, okay? Watch those work colleagues though. But it's where they're the victim and you're the bad guy. They've been done wrong somehow. Yeah, so look, possible they want to make you jealous, insecure, and paranoid.
I think you have to understand when dealing with narcissists is triangulation. So a narcissist, once again, is someone with a personality disorder where they have an emotional wound that causes them on a subconscious level to live in a sort of fantasy world in which they're never wrong. And they totally buy into this fantasy world, they totally believe it. And so what happens when this fantasy world is threatened, when someone tells them that they're wrong or not the hero, they start to try and create this fantasy world in the external world. And they do this by beginning to manipulate people in the social circle, to try and turn them against the person who's saying that they're wrong or the hero, usually with lies and false narratives. And they do this on a subconscious level because, once again, consciously, they totally believe that they're the victim. And this is what makes them so dangerous, because they have such conviction in their delusions that they have very powerful and confident self-communication, like really good body language and vocal tones. And we as people, we like to think we make educated, intelligent decisions about other humans, but really we decide who's right and who's wrong and who we like. Something you have.
A narcissist will manufacture love triangles in order to create drama and insecurity in you. They are puppeteers to your emotions, and they get away with it because they are so cunning. Triangulation is when you bring someone else in the mix of the relationship. This can be an ex, a mistress, a relative, or even someone new. They manufacture this triangulation so that it creates drama. They strive on drama. This creates a surge of jealousy in you, where you compete for their attention. You will work even harder for them to not leave you and to love you. They will even make statements like why you can't be more like him or her. A triangle is simply designed for the victim to compete with the other party and to have a presence in the narcissist's life.
Have you heard of the term triangulation? It's what we do in relationships when there's a problem between two people. When we can't deal with the other person, either because we're afraid to, or because we don't know what to say, or because the other person is difficult in some way, we sometimes go to a third person, hoping that they would either give us insight or act as a mediator or maybe even an advocate for us in order to stabilize that initial relationship. Whenever we do this is an unhealthy process. We have weakened our power in that initial position, and we're using somebody else for leverage. Learn to recognize triangles and work to avoid them whenever possible. It may feel like you're stabilizing things, but you're actually not.
Triangulation. It's when one person has a conversation with another person about this third person. Now, they really needed to have the conversation over here, but instead they had it over here, hence the triangle. Why do we do it? Sometimes we do it because we're not used to having direct conversations. Sometimes we do it because we're so practiced at it, we're not even aware. Sometimes we do it to manipulate or to punish someone. If any of those sound like you, check out the full video.
Narcissistic triangulation in the family. A lot of people tend to think that triangulation occurs in romantic relationships, which it does, but it also occurs in family dynamics as well. It can happen with a narcissistic parent when they have a golden child, and then the child that's more of a scapegoat or a black sheep. The parent will say to the scapegoat, "Why can't you be more like your golden child brother or sister?" Triangulating the two. Another way this happens is, I had a little brother close to me in age growing up, and we had a cousin in between our ages. But rather than him ever hanging out with both of us at the same time, he would separate us and try to pin us against one another. And part of this was because he didn't have a brother, and my brother and I, we didn't have the self-esteem ourselves to stop it either. But it was absolutely a version of narcissistic triangulation.